Have you ever felt like, even after going to the bathroom, something was still left inside? That uncomfortable sensation that things weren't finished, that something was stuck, like your intestines hadn't fully emptied? It might sound silly, but this symptom has a name, and it's more serious than it seems. It's called rectal tenesmus, and behind that strange name, there might be something life-altering, and not in a good way. Many people live with this symptom for months, even years. You know what they do? They ignore it. They think it's just constipation, stress from daily life, or they simply say, "My digestion has always been like this." But it wasn't, and when they finally notice the difference, it might already be too late. I'm not here to scare you, but to warn you, because this discomfort may be one of the first signs that there's something physical inside the rectum or at the end of the colon, taking up space and preventing full evacuation. And what could that something be? A tumor. Yes, a tumor might be growing there, obstructing the normal passage of stool. It's no coincidence that many colon cancer patients report this feeling as one of their first symptoms. And the worst part is, since it seems like such a minor issue, people normalize it. They take laxatives, increase their fiber intake, assume it's just their diet. But the tenesmus persists. And then, months later, when they finally get tested, the diagnosis changes everything. At that point, I always ask a question that catches people off guard. When was the last time you really paid attention to your bowel movements? When did you seriously look at your own body without brushing it off as nothing? Most people don't know how to answer, and that's okay. No one teaches us to do this. But now that you know, ignorance is no longer an excuse. And here's another detail few people know. Stool shape can change. Yes, you may start to notice it becoming thinner, like ribbons or flattened strips. This happens because as stool passes through a narrowed area caused by a tumor, it's literally molded by it. It's like the cancer is leaving its signature, and you need to learn how to spot it. But fear often paralyzes us. How many people have you heard say, "I don't even want to get tested. What if they find something?" But the test doesn't cause the disease. Your silence and denial feed it. Cancer won't wait for you to be mentally ready. It won't knock on your door. It will move, quietly. And the only way to beat it is to catch it as early as possible. I've seen patients who ignored this symptom out of shame. Yes, shame. Embarrassed to talk to a doctor, ashamed to look at their own stool, scared to admit something might be wrong. And that's more common than you think. But I'll tell you this with complete honesty. Your temporary discomfort in getting tested or talking about it is not worth the price of your life. If you often feel tenesmus, if your bowel movements have changed, whether in shape, frequency, or that sense of relief afterward, that's already reason enough to investigate. Don't wait for pain, don't wait for blood, don't wait for your body to scream. It's already whispering. And don't assume this only happens to older people. Colon cancer is rising at an alarming rate among young adults under the age of 50. Diets rich in processed foods, sedentary lifestyles, chronic stress, all of it adds up. There are people not even 40 years old undergoing chemotherapy, with small children at home, wondering when they missed the signs. Now, I want to ask you for something important. Pay attention to your body. Start today. Tomorrow morning when you go to the bathroom, don't just go through the motions. Observe carefully. Look closely. Take notes if you want. And if you notice anything unusual, schedule a medical appointment. Could it be nothing? Sure. But what if it isn't? Would you really want to find out when it's already too late? Remember, cancer doesn't start big. It begins small, with subtle signs. That feeling that something is still there even after a bowel movement might be your body's first attempt to give you a chance to change everything. Don't waste that signal. You look in the mirror and notice your pants are looser. Someone comments that your face looks thinner, and you feel a bit excited. Am I losing weight, you wonder? But here's the detail. You're not on a diet, You haven't changed your routine, you haven't started exercising. The only thing that's changed is your body by itself. And sadly, that isn't a good sign. Losing weight without a clear reason is often one of the most deceptive and ignored signs of colon cancer. When the body starts using energy uncontrollably or stops absorbing nutrients properly, it's because something very wrong is happening inside. And sometimes that something is a tumor quietly growing in your intestine. The issue is that many people celebrate this weight loss. They believe they've got a fast metabolism, think it's genetic luck, or that their body is finally reacting. But often, this weight loss isn't accompanied by more energy. On the contrary, it comes with fatigue, discouragement, even sadness, because the body is burning out. Colon cancer can cause this weight loss in various ways. First, it directly interferes with nutrient absorption. You eat, but the nutrients never reach where they're supposed to. It's like your intestines have holes, letting the essential stuff slip away. Second, it may produce inflammatory substances like interleukin-1 and interleukin-6 that directly affect your appetite and metabolism. You feel less hungry or feel sick when you eat. Food feels heavy, makes you bloated, causes nausea, and before you know it, you've lost 5 or 10 kilograms. There's another factor almost nobody talks about. The tumor increases your body's energy consumption, even when you're resting. It demands more energy because it's multiplying, growing, invading tissues. And your body, in an attempt to fight it, stays in constant alert mode. The result, you lose fat, muscle mass, strength, and vitality. And I need to be blunt here. Don't wait until you're skin and bones to realize something's wrong. Most people don't notice until they've lost over 5 kilograms. And by then, the tumor is often already in an advanced stage. In some cases, the weight loss is so extreme that the patient shows up to the clinic looking frail, with thinner skin, sunken eyes, but still believes they're just stressed. And if you're thinking, well, I eat well, so it can't be that, think again. I've seen patients who ate everything with no restrictions and still lost weight. The food went in but didn't stay. Or worse, it was being siphoned off by the tumor before the body could use it. That's why every case of unexplained weight loss must be investigated. And when I say investigated, I don't mean wait a few months and see what happens. I mean blood tests, digestive evaluations, possibly even a colonoscopy. It could be something else, a hormonal imbalance, a chronic infection, but what if it's not? What if it's exactly what you're afraid to even consider? Now, let me share a real-life example that's shocking, but full of lessons. Do you remember the journalist Marcelo Rezende? When he appeared on television looking thinner, people complimented him. They said he looked good, more fit. But shortly after, he revealed that he was suffering from advanced cancer, a cancer that started in the pancreas and had spread to the liver and other organs. His weight loss wasn't a sign of health, it was his body's desperate cry for help. Unfortunately, he realized it far too late. You don't have to wait that long. You don't have to become part of that statistic. Your body is constantly speaking to you. Losing weight suddenly, without a clear reason, is your body screaming for attention. So if this is happening to you, or someone you know is going through it, someone who lost weight unexpectedly, who's always tired, who's lost the glow they once had, don't ignore it. Don't explain it away. Don't brush it off. Investigate. And what if it's nothing serious? That's great, truly. But if it is, you'll be grateful you acted in time. Because when it comes to colon cancer, time is everything. Early diagnosis can mean the difference between a simple surgery and a long, painful battle, between life and absence. So don't celebrate without knowing. Investigate, ask, question, take care of yourself. Your body is sending a signal, and if you listen to it now, you may be saving yourself years of life in the future. Have you ever felt bloated all the time, like you'd overeaten even though you hadn't? Or had that tight, swollen feeling in your belly that made you unbutton your pants halfway through the day just to get some relief? What many people call normal might actually be a sign of something much more serious and silent. Abdominal bloating, especially when it's frequent and comes with gas, cramps, and internal pressure, is not just a reaction to heavy meals or stress. In many cases, this symptom can be linked to colon cancer that's developing. And the most dangerous part is that it hides easily. You think it's lactose, gluten, PMS, and you keep putting it off until you can't anymore. What happens is that a tumor, as it grows in the intestine, can begin to partially block the digestive tract, like a traffic jam inside you. Food doesn't move properly, gas builds up, stool takes longer to pass, and all of this causes chronic bloating that doesn't improve with simple diet changes. And there's more. This kind of obstruction can also cause alternating symptoms. One day, you get severe cramps and constipation. The next day, unexplained diarrhea. And it turns into a cycle. Your intestines get out of rhythm, your body loses balance, and you no longer know what normal feels like. Now think with me. How many people do you know who always say, "My digestion's always been weird"? People who go for weeks feeling bloated, uncomfortable, in pain, but never see a doctor because they're used to it. Sadly, that's very common. And many only discover they have a tumor when the symptoms have gotten so bad they affect sleep, appetite, and everyday life. The truth is that we get used to discomfort, and that's one of the most dangerous mistakes when it comes to cancer. The body tries to warn us, but we cover our ears. We adapt to the discomfort until it becomes routine. And cancer loves that. The silence, the negligence. It grows when we're not paying attention. And before you think, "But that doesn't happen to young, healthy people," let me tell you, cases of colon cancer in young adults have been rising at an alarming rate in recent years. Several studies conducted in the United States have shown that, among individuals under the age of 50, the incidence of this particular disease has increased by more than 50% over the past few decades. And what is the main culprit? The modern lifestyle. Diets based on processed foods, lack of physical activity, poor sleep quality, and chronic stress. All of these quietly inflame the body from within. And the intestine is one of the first organs to react. That's why when you feel that the bloating doesn't go away, when it starts interfering with your ability to live lightly, when it makes you feel heavy, uncomfortable, even irritable, do not accept that as normal, because it might not be. And if it's not, then time is your greatest ally. The earlier it is identified, the simpler the treatment, the greater the chances of a cure, the less the suffering. Let me tell you a real case. A patient of mine, a young woman, 38 years old, healthy, with a balanced diet. She began feeling bloated after meals. Then came the pain. Cramps here, cramps there. She started avoiding certain foods, cut out milk, took gas relief medication. She lived like this for nearly 1 year. When she finally decided to investigate, there was already a tumor in the final section of her large intestine, compressing the passage. Had she waited any longer, a much more invasive procedure would have been necessary. Fortunately, we were able to intervene in time, but it was very close. So if you feel that your belly is always bloated, that you're uncomfortable without any clear reason, this deserves attention. It's not just about looks or quality of life, it's about your life. And your life should never be left to chance. Pay attention to your body. It doesn't swell for no reason. It doesn't bloat out of whim. It's trying to send you a signal. And it could be the only one you get before something much more serious happens. Choose to listen. Choose to act. Choose to live healthy. Some people live in a constant state of fatigue. They wake up tired, stay drowsy throughout the day, drag themselves into the night, and even after sleeping, they still feel deeply exhausted. But how can you tell the difference between regular tiredness, the kind that comes after a long week or a bad night's sleep, and the kind of fatigue that could be a warning sign of a serious disease, like colorectal cancer? The fatigue caused by this type of cancer is different. It's persistent, constant, and often has no clear explanation. You start noticing that you have less energy for simple tasks, climbing stairs, walking around the block, focusing at work. Activities that were once routine now feel like they take twice the effort. And even when you try to rest more, sleep better, change your habits, the exhaustion remains. This kind of chronic fatigue has a very clear physiological explanation. As the tumor grows, it can cause small, continuous internal bleeding in the intestine, bleeding that you cannot see with the naked eye. This slow loss of blood can lead to anemia, and anemia drastically reduces your vitality. Even if you are eating well and maintaining a healthy diet, if your intestine is losing blood internally, your body gradually becomes deficient in iron, leading to a generalized feeling of weakness that spreads across all systems. Often, this anemia doesn't show up in standard tests, or it gets overlooked because the bleeding isn't visible. And worse, in some cases, fatigue appears even without anemia. This happens because cancer cells consume an enormous amount of energy, since they are constantly dividing and multiplying. It's as if the tumor is silently draining your energy, using up your nutrients before your body has a chance to benefit from them. The result? A body that runs at half capacity, even though it appears normal on the outside.
Here is a moment that truly touches me deeply. How many times have you found yourself saying, "I think I'm just tired. I must be under too much stress. It'll get better soon." And yet, you keep pushing through. You drink coffee, grab energy drinks, take vitamins. You change your pillow, replace your mattress, start stretching. But the truth is, your energy will not return while the real cause remains hidden inside, silently tucked away in your gut. Our bodies never abandon us without warning. They always give us signs. And prolonged fatigue is one of the most serious ones, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like weight loss, changes in bowel movements, or abdominal bloating. But even if it appears alone, it already deserves investigation, because the fatigue caused by cancer is not ordinary tiredness. It slowly consumes your physical strength, mental clarity, and emotional balance. So here's something to reflect on. When was the last time you had a full checkup? Have you ever requested more in-depth tests like a fecal occult blood test or a colonoscopy, especially if you're over 45 years old? Don't wait for pain to take action. Pain doesn't always show up in the early stages. Sometimes it only appears when a tumor has already started affecting nearby organs. I've seen people ignore this kind of fatigue for months until they started fainting, losing focus while driving, or experiencing unexplained dizziness. And by the time they finally sought help, they were already suffering from severe anemia. And what was behind it all? A tumor in the large intestine, bleeding quietly without being noticed. The good news? When we catch it in time, there's a real chance to reverse it. But time is precious. Every single week counts. Let me ask you now, could the fatigue you feel today be more than just a need for rest? Could it be your body trying to save you? Ignoring it is a risk you don't need to take, because the fatigue stealing your energy is also robbing your drive, your joy, your will to live. And life can't be lived on autopilot, with a body screaming for help while your mind keeps insisting that everything's fine. Listen to your fatigue. Don't cover it up with coffee, sugar, or denial. Investigate it. Because if it's something serious, you have a better chance of beating it when you face it head on. And if it's nothing, even better. But you'll only know if you have the courage to look. And that courage, I know you have it. After all, you've stayed with me up to this point, and that alone shows you care. So take action. You don't have to live drained. You deserve to live with real energy. If there's one thing you should take away from everything we've talked about today, it's this. The signs your body gives you should never be ignored. Even the subtlest ones, even those that seem like nothing. A bit of bloating, persistent fatigue, that feeling of not fully emptying your bowels, these might be your body trying to protect you before it's too late. The sooner you pay attention to those signs, the more chances you have to completely change the direction of your health. And if you've made it this far, that already says a lot about you. It means you care about your life, your body, and the people you love. So use this moment to take one more step with me on your path toward a healthier life. The next video is already showing up on your screen, and in it, I'll guide you through another essential step in this journey of prevention and vitality. Thank you so much for staying with me this far, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep moving forward together.